Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV and the full-time show. Arsenal have won 2-1 against Zurich in their opening game of the Europa League. We are going to talk about it. We're going to react to some of your videos. We're going to get your thoughts and reactions. But as we mentioned, during the watch-along, I mentioned at half-time as well, that really sad news has come through that Her Majesty the Queen has passed away. So obviously, that's... I've just got the Man United game on now. They're currently having a minute's silence in the middle of the pitch, and it's taken the world by surprise. It's a sad day. So we're going to talk about the game, but just wanted to reiterate that, of course, we send our condolences. But let's talk about that match. Let's talk about the match and go through your thoughts very soon with the videos you guys are sending in. The number has appeared on screen, may appear on screen again. Arsenal, I think, got off to what was, I wouldn't call it the perfect start, but just a perfectly necessary start. Don't think they had to overly exert themselves. I know it went to 1-1 at one point. In fact, we were chasing the game, but I don't think Arsenal ever really they got out of second gear. I think you can kind of look one or two ways. You can either say that was Zurich, how did we not play better? And I understand that, with all due respect to Zurich, the start they've made to the season, and there was an expectation Arsenal would find this pretty comfortable. I think in truth they probably did. Find this pretty comfortable, Arsenal. I don't think they had to really break a sweat, to be honest. And even when we weren't at our best, we sort of still managed to fashion ourselves a few opportunities here and there and look like we could go up a gear and sort of create havoc if we needed to. And Arsenal, go 2-1 up, and then he makes the changes, and we'll talk about the subs and all that. I think Arsenal need to come out of this without really breaking a sweat and without really being pushed too hard. And look, I'll give credit to Zurich. As in there's some moments where they caused us some trouble. There's some moments where, physically they were putting themselves about, and Arsenal had to match that. But I think in terms of what we did on the ball, in terms of our inventiveness, I don't think Arsenal... I know that sounds crazy. We only won 2-1, and at any moment they could have scored. But I think there would have been a sort of a conscious effort not to overexert themselves in this match. Maybe I'm being harsh. I mean, Chris says he's not impressed with what he saw today. Banda says that the pen was really unlucky for Nketiah. I agree with that. What else have we got? Marquinhos is good. Yeah, I thought Marquinhos is good. I'm going to delve into all the kind of details around the match very soon with Laurie, and we're going to go into your clips very, very soon. But there was, I think while Arsenal weren't at their best, I think there was an element of control, to be fair. And I think Arteta will be saying to the boys, listen, I'm not judging you on these games. I'm looking much more at the 6 Premier League games that we had and the performances we showed there. And I think for a lot of those games, we were the better team. Do you remember we used to talk about Arsenal dominating for 30 minutes or having 30-minute spells, or maybe they had a good half in them and they'd hang on the other half? I think in those 6 Premier League games, Arsenal showed an ability to largely be in control for a good 70-75% of those games. And I think in this game, Arsenal kind of it took a little bit more just to kind of get over the line, get that goal, but nothing I'm particularly worried about or over-analysing. We'll have a look at some of the key players, look at their numbers if we can, and the Man United game has kicked off. They're playing Real Sociedad at Old Trafford as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they do there. Anthony getting minutes, Casemiro, Ronaldo. It'll be interesting to see how they look, in their early Europa League games. All right, guys, we're going to go straight to your clips, and then we'll break down some of the performances and the main talking points from that watch-along with Laurie. Let's hear what you guys are saying.
What's up, AFTV? Joaquin watching from Boston. Game against Zurich. It was all right. Not our best performance, but good to get the 3 points at the end. Big positive in Marquinhos. Man, he was fantastic today. I thought he was flying down the right-hand side and putting in really nice crosses, and of course getting his goal, right positioning all the time. I thought we probably should have had a clean sheet. I don't know what Nketiah is doing there. Like, he should know better than that. I thought, honestly, he was not very good today. You could just see the difference between him and Jesus, where Jesus is moving in and out of the half spaces and moving in between the lines, whereas Nketiah, he wants to play on the shoulder, but when he's not getting the ball, he's not very involved in the game. And I would just like to see him get a little bit more involved, because he has the skill to take players on one-on-one and to make good passes. I thought Fabio Vieira was okay. he looks a bit shaky. Like he made a couple really nice key passes, but other times on the ball he looked not amazing. And I don't fault Arteta for not putting him in the Prem games. Overall okay game. I would still like to see more one-touch passing, moving the ball a lot quicker. I think we take too much time looking for, the perfect pass where just tap the ball around. Like tiki-taka, more like City play. And for me, still just getting the shots out quicker. I think we should have had a couple more goals. But yeah, overall good result. And hopefully we can go again on Sunday and beat Everton.
Full-time reaction to Arsenal 2, Zurich 1. Thank you for AFTV for allowing me to state my opinion on the game. It was a solid performance. Really, really liked the look of Marquinhos. I thought he did brilliant today. Eddie Nketiah looked sharp. I like the look of Vieira. It was a shame that Nketiah did give away that penalty, but he was obviously trying to clear the ball away. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But Arteta, I'm not really too sure about the substitute today. I felt like I wanted to see Zinchenko in the midfield to see what he can offer us there. Maybe he can actually potentially start in that game. And Everton in the midfield if Tierney is fit to play. Honestly, solid performance. I rate it an 8 out of 10. On to Everton on Sunday. Come on, you Gunners.
You know what, yeah. There's something about this Arsenal team, yeah. We need to find a way to finish off games. It's going to come back and bite us in the ass, you know what I mean? We need to find a way to finish off games. I mean, to me, we shouldn't have made any substitution today. We should have just allowed them to go on and tell them, even if they equalised or lost the game, and tell the players, look, you were better than them, and you should have done better. Yeah. So we should find a way. I'm quite glad. I'm happy that we actually won. But we should definitely find a way to finish off games, or else we're going to actually be in big trouble. Maxwell from France. Cheers.
Welcome back, guys. We've got Laurie.
What's up, James? What are you saying?
Yeah, all good.
Trying
obviously.
to gauge your mood with your upbeat, downbeat.
No, it's obviously it's a sad day. We sort of discussed that at half time, and we discussed it as well at the beginning of this stream. But we've got a match to talk about, and Arsenal. Look, I think there were positives. I know there was a lot of debate around the substitutions, and this is Zurich and all that. But I actually thought it looked to me like Arsenal never really got out of second gear, and that was probably by design.
You know what? First up, I do want to echo your thoughts when you said it was a sad day. Yes, it is. Condolences to the royal family, the Queen, and everybody else in the country that's mourning her passing at present. I have to say, I am not a royalist. I don't want to come across hypocritical. However, it is a sad day. It's the passing of an era. I grew up with the Queen, and obviously, even though I have my thoughts about the monarchy, I'm still a human being, and I still have compassion for people. So yeah, it's a sad day today. So I just want to get that out there. With regards to the game, yeah, you know what, I'm with you. I think we weren't overly convincing. However, I wouldn't say that we didn't get out first gear. That's probably
Too kind.
Probably a little bit not enough respect shown to our opponents, who did put in a shift, didn't they? Let's face it. Did make it difficult for us at times. But I think we were worthy winners without ever looking particularly convincing.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Like that, you summed it up perfectly. Worthy winners, never looking particularly convincing. But the only way I can marry the two up is maybe because I always had this sense that if Arsenal needed to really go through the gears, they probably could. And again, it's no disrespect to Zurich. You know, a lot of the reason why maybe we were struggling for fluency at times, fluidity is the word, is because they stopped us. They worked hard and all that. But I just felt like there are a few moments where Arsenal could have had, you think of that Martinelli header, and a few moments where you just think, if we're just that little bit better with the final ball. But maybe I'm giving them too much credit, because the Man United game and the Villa game and the Fulham game, we had those chances and put them away. And we're not talking about getting out of first gear and all that, are we? So, there were... I mean, let's talk about some positives. Fabio Vieira, let's start with him. What did you make of his performance?
No, very good. Yeah, he looked good. Showed some nice touches. I've been hearing about his footballing ability, and I saw flashes today that made me think, yeah, you know what I heard about him is true, about him being so good on the ball. Obviously, Marquinhos, excellent debut, brilliant today for the most part. Deserved his man of the match award. Got the goal. You saw him in tears there. Felt for the lad. Obviously means a lot to him, and I was very pleased for him. I thought Sambi Lokonga did well in the midfield today. Actually.
I was very happy with Sambi Lokonga. Yeah, I actually felt sorry for him. I mean, I know the debate going on the watch along, not half as lively as the debate around the substitutions.
The substitutions, yeah. I was going to touch on that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll definitely go on to that. With Lokonga, I always felt he was a good player in possession. When he has the ball, I'm never particularly worried about him. I know he gave the ball away against Man United, but that can happen to any player.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I think he looks a player who can be a little bit inventive, can be a little bit creative. But we've got to accept that with Partey and Elneny injured, Lokonga's being asked to drop into that deeper role, which I know he played a lot last season, but Arteta clearly learned that's not where he plays, and in pre-season he didn't play him there. Now he's having to, and he's still learning it. So,
Absolutely.
we've got to be patient with him.
People need to understand that he's coming to the team as what I would view as a direct replacement for Mohamed Elneny, right? And I'm going to be honest and say I don't think the drop-off is that big, if at all, because I think as a footballer, I think he's at least the equal of Elneny, if not better. And I think in terms of his athleticism and the way he gets around the pitch, his strength in the tackle, again, is just as good, if not better than Elneny's. I think the thing that separates the two of them is experience. Obviously, Elneny, and listen, this is not to denigrate Elneny, by the way. He's done a job for Arsenal since he's been at the club. He's done a good job. You've seen him being rewarded by signing new contracts and so forth. So the club do appreciate his value, and so do I. But what I'm saying, if I analyse it strictly as a footballing situation, there's no drop-off to me. And not only that, I think Sambi's ceiling is obviously going to be higher at this stage in his career.
Yeah, I think if I were to sum it up, I think if I'm looking for someone who I can rely on defensively, it's Elneny. And who's safe in possession. So, all the safe things. And I don't take nothing away from Elneny. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for someone who's going to be inventive and maybe change the game for us in the final third, then I'm looking at Lokonga. I agree with Lokonga. With Vieira, did we get any better idea for what position he's probably going to play in this team?
Yeah, you see, this is it. You see, as you know, we're a little bit light in midfield, and the manager's having to tweak things here and there. So I'm still not sure what his best position's going to be. Ball playing midfielder, box to box. I'm not sure, to be honest. It's not. I mean, what would you say? Maybe I should take instruction from you.
I think he looks more a depth for Odegaard than anything else. I didn't think he looked like someone who can naturally play in the role Xhaka's doing, which is box to box, lots of energy. Although he's buzzy, and don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I saw bits of that today.
Yeah, and I didn't exactly see a lot in terms of driving with the ball to suggest that he could be a winger. But I think what he's got very good technique on the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
Very elegant. I think he puts himself about. I think he demands the ball in tight areas. I think he's bold. Ultra talented, and I think there'll be times where him and Odegaard could play in midfield together alongside a midfield destroyer. I also think he could play wide if the rest of the team has pace and all that, and so I think it's just about balance.
Finding the right balance, to be honest with you, I can't. He may evolve into that some stage, but that playmaker role that Odegaard's got is a very big role in the side.
It is, yeah.
And I'm not sure if he's ready for that yet, to be honest.
Well, I think it's always good when being a creator in the team, and we know only 2 years ago when we were negotiating the Europa League group stage that our only creator was Smith Rowe, and he's not really a creator. He's more not in the way like an Ozil is, kind of silky kind of threads it through the lines type player, though he can be creative, Smith Rowe. And we had Willian or whatever. So to have now Smith Rowe, Vieira, Odegaard in the same squad, Arsenal can actually turn to quite a lot of depth in terms of in terms of that role in the team.
Yeah, you know what? With Smith Rowe, I've always felt of Smith Rowe is that kind of, imagine like Frank Lampard, box to box that can get you goals. That's how I've kind of seen Smith Rowe previously. Vieira, I've not seen too much of him, and like I said, he looked well in spurts today. But ultimately his role will evolve, and we'll get he will hopefully in time make a position his.
Sure.
And we'll be able to judge him fair on that, I think.
Let's talk about Marquinhos. What did you make of his debut?
Yeah, very impressed. Very impressed. Looked hungry, looked quick, good skill. Liked his energy and deserved his goal. And yeah, I'm encouraged. I think we could be seeing him sooner rather than later in the Premier League.
I thought Marquinhos was fantastic, and what it gave me was, when we signed him, my thought was, okay, you know, he might go on loan and he might get... And to be honest, I fell into the trap I did with Martinelli, thinking, you know, I can't really get excited about this signing, can I? And, you know, there's a lot of comparisons. He was a winger that I hadn't really heard of. Both their names start with MAR.
Yeah.
But they came for a relatively low fee. I'm joking, by the way. But they both came for relatively low fees, and I think surprised people by taking their opportunities in these kind of group stage games. What I liked about Marquinhos today was I saw him in pre-season, and if I'm honest, and it was only a couple games. I think he got some minutes against Nuremberg and some minutes against Chelsea. But what surprised me was I looked at him in this game and I thought, he might be a bit safe, you know. Would he just try and tick along? And actually, he was quite bold, especially after he got his goal, which was a great finish. He was taking players on. He wanted the ball. You know, the assist is a lovely cross. He put in a few crosses like that, by the way. He's got good delivery, and that is something. When Arteta's instructing his wide players to be really wide and hug the touchline, you've got to be able to put in a good delivery, and Marquinhos showed that. So I think what I took from Marquinhos today, while I take into account the opposition, is he can contribute in the Premier League if needed.
Definitely. And like you said there, when you said about the opposition, you do have to take that into account.
Yeah.
Zurich are not what I would call a good team. I mean, if you looked at their record this season, that bears that out. They've played 7 league games. They've had no wins, 2 draws and 5 losses. They were beaten last weekend at home against a team in the Swiss league that are in the lower echelons of that league before they play them. So, you know, let's have it right. Not the best opposition. However, if you're Marquinhos, you're coming in, it's your first game. It's a big game because it's the Europa League and, you know, the world is watching. You're keen to make a good impression. What I liked about him was his positivity. He was looking to be aggressive with the ball, looking to take players on, and he made an impact almost straight away.
Yeah.
Now, if you contrast that with some of Pepe's games where he's not really made an impact, that's where you got to say, you know what, he came in and did his thing.
Yeah, see, the Pepe comparison is very interesting. We're taking one Marquinhos game here, and for context, I've always quite liked Pepe.
I'm a fan of Pepe, you know.
Yeah, no, I know you. I know you're a fan of Pepe. When I say quite like, as in there are a lot of people who say, "Oh shit, get rid of him." I've always felt actually at his worst he could still contribute big, and I think that's a gift not all players have. And I think when I compare and contrast the two, I can see why Arteta likes Marquinhos. I'm not saying he prefers him because there's a lot to learn about Marquinhos, but I can see why he likes him because Marquinhos, for me, while showing his pace and skill and drive at times, never did anything overly audacious that results in you losing possession. Or again, not saying he never lost possession, but he felt like a more reliable player out there in terms of maybe in possession, work ethic. Although Pepe always had work ethic, all those things. Whereas Pepe, he might not have been as good as that for most of the game, but can still score that goal and still put that assist in because he's got that kind of raw quality with his left foot. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how.
I've always said that Pepe is a footballer. His footballing ability is very good, actually. He has tremendous talent. The problem with Pepe is that he didn't always impact the game the way you would like him to, because you got the impression that he needed to be a bit more aggressive in his play. When I say aggressive, I don't mean going around kicking everybody. I mean demanding a ball. I mean when you got the ball at your feet and you see the defender coming towards you, I want to see you take him on, make a run and do something with it rather than pass it and do the simple things or the less difficult thing. I want to see you say, right, I'm going to have this guy on toast today. We didn't see that enough from Pepe, unfortunately.
Yeah, agreed. But, you know, he always had his fun in the Europa League group stage.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, his ability is unmistaken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We knew that even before he came to the club.
Like we said, he was as talented as most players in the squad. Not all, you know, some were, you know, I'm thinking your Odegaards or whatever. But I always felt the talent was there with Pepe. But anyway, we're probably talking too much about him. But my point is, when you look at Marquinhos today, I felt that he was both effective and reliable in possession.
I think Marquinhos was determined to make his stamp on the game today.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
think
exactly what he did. So you have to commend him for that.
Yeah, Ashford the Super Chat says, can we get perspective on the subs? To call it scandalous for 10 minutes is crazy. Marquinhos superb, not just goals and assists, but strength, pace and efficient. Yeah, efficient, that's a good word to describe what I meant when I'm sort of saying reliable and stuff. We'll get back to that in one sec. Giuseppe says, missed Tommy's strong presence. He let Saka play his attacking game and Tommy came on against Villa and we scored because Tommy's forward passing is top notch. So he wants to see Tomiyasu in the team. Let's go back to that about the subs. Yeah, sorry, by the way, there's a lot of people echoing what we were saying about Marquinhos. His finish was sharp, knows where the back of the net is, although Vines are saying that we should have had more goals. So yeah, let's discuss the subs and how you feel around, you know, the fact that a lot of players that we felt maybe weren't necessary were brought on.
Right, so for the second game in a row now, we've seen the manager embroiled in a kind of substitutes, if not scandal, but it's been a big talking point. For me, 3 in 1 go again, it was almost like the manager was sending a message out to the likes of Gary Neville and the others to say, listen, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I do it. So I kind of...
Yeah, maybe.
I took from that a little bit of stubbornness there. There was a lot of talk in the watch-along that we did. Some of the guys were saying he should have made the substitutions. We didn't need to make them. I would disagree with that, actually. I thought that this is a big game. It's Europa League. You saw what happened to Chelsea in the week. You know, they went away from home. That was the game they was expected to win. They lost the game, and you saw what happened to their manager the next day. Now, I'm not saying that would have happened to Arteta. Of course it wouldn't.
Yeah.
However, it was a big game, and I quite like the fact that he's taking the game seriously. So when things were starting to drift a little bit, he thought to himself, I need an input of energy here. I need to make some subs, get the guys on, let's put the game beyond doubt. Didn't quite happen like that. So then the narrative shifts and everyone's saying, well, why did he need to make so much changes? We didn't score anyway. It was a waste of time. They could have got injured. There was somebody in the watch-along, I think it was my boy Gunali, described it as poor game management. I'm not so sure if I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm with you. When I was thinking of the subs, I was thinking we'll bring on Saka for Martinelli, so then you're not weakening the team, but Martinelli gets his rest, whatever. He seemed to really revert to essentially the first 11, wasn't he? Eventually he got Zinchenko, Saka, Odegaard, Jesus all on. Okay, what are my thoughts on it? Because it's easier hindsight. I'm trying to remember how I felt at the time. I was a little surprised. I thought, okay, it's quite strong. But when you stop and think about it, you know, I think you made this point in the watch-along. It's 2-1.
Yeah.
You know, it's not done.
Not done.
And if we'd made changes that weaken the side and then we concede,
Exactly.
people would be absolutely furious with him.
Great point.
You know, obviously I haven't actually seen any updates on what's happening this weekend because of the news around the passing of Her Majesty the Queen, but we don't know if the games are going ahead, and if we do, apologies, I'm trying to have a little look.
Somebody I know, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Somebody I know very, very well in BBC Sport has said that there's a protocol in place that if Her Majesty the Queen was to pass,
Okay.
then the sporting events that weekend would be cancelled that weekend as a mark of respect.
Fine.
Now, that's what I'd heard before, and a few other people are saying the same thing.
Okay.
I think it was Lee Gunner made an excellent point. He was saying that, listen, could it be that Arteta's aware of that because they would have known about the Queen's passing at half-time, and that might have influenced his decision to give some of those guys who he wouldn't normally have played. He said, look, they're not going to be playing this week anyway. It's 2-1. Let them have a run out. Now, I don't know. It could be a stretch to say that. But you know what? That is not beyond comprehension, is it? That might have gone through the manager's mind.
I mean, I brought it up thinking that he might want to give them minutes and get them sort of feeling sharp going into that game, because obviously their last outing was Manchester United, and that didn't end the way they wanted.
Exactly,
so sometimes you don't want to send them off on the wrong foot. I think ultimately it was that we were only 2-1 up, and he thought, I can't waste this opportunity. You know, okay, we might get it done later, but you know, let's get the 3 points while we can. Let's sit out. And then you think of Jesus' chances and a couple little moments. Martinelli was through. You know what I'm realising with Arsenal? Arsenal have much better chances in games than we think. It's that the finishing has been quite poor on a lot of them, that we don't actually realise how good a chance it's been. So I'll give you an example, and full credit to Granit Xhaka on this. Do you remember when the ball was kind of bobbling on the edge of the area, and he spotted Martinelli's run, so he kind of flicked it in beyond, and Martinelli went for a kind of scissor kick volley type thing?
Yeah, I do remember it, yeah.
That was a great chance. We were in, but either he hits the back of the net or the target, or he rolls it to Nketiah right next to him, he puts it away. That was a great chance, but because it kind of sailed over, it took me a minute to kind of remember we had that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think Arsenal actually create themselves. At Martinelli's header in the first half when Marquinhos puts it in, and again it goes well wide, but it was, he should be burying that. And I think Arsenal did a similar thing against Man United. I remember hearing the fans saying, well, what saves did De Gea have to make? I said, well, that's not reflective of the chances we created. That's reflective of how poor our finishing was. So,
one of the things I find increasingly frustrating about Arsenal, I mean, I've felt this for quite some time now, but it was evident on Sunday against Manchester United, and perhaps it was even more so evident tonight, is that the players, when they're in positions and things open up for them, you expect them to take a shot. They want to take that extra touch, or sometimes even look for a pass.
Yeah.
And they don't get the shot off, and then the opportunity is lost. You allow the defender to recover his position, get back in shape, and what could have been a goal, or you force a goalkeeper to make a save, that opportunity is gone. And I find myself being increasingly frustrated watching Arsenal do that, and that was certainly on display today.
Yeah. I think that's a result of the last few games, Fulham and Villa being a little bit more touch and go than they needed to be. You think Villa, they pull it back to 1-1, but we could have been 4-0 up. You think Fulham, we were playing well, but we go 1-0 down. It takes a deflection, a set piece to score. Not saying Arsenal didn't deserve it, they were brilliant. And then the Man United game, sometimes it gets in your mind like, oh, we've not been just firing them away. Whereas you look at some of the goals against Bournemouth, for example, Saliba, left foot, swings it in.
Took his opportunity.
Well, what about that Odegaard one, where Jesus takes a heavy touch and Odegaard just thrashes it into the back of the net against Bournemouth. So, Arsenal sometimes, and the Leicester goals I think are very similar as well. Maybe there's just a little bit of a...
we're overplaying.
We're looking a bit tepid in front of goal. We're maybe just a little bit... We're not as secure and sure
about it.
Is
it a confidence issue?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of confidence in front of goal. Yeah, maybe.
Not wanting to take responsibility. Looking for the pass when really it should be looking for a shot.
Yeah. Anthony to 1993 says butchered his name there. Marquinhos is Martinelli 2.0, but like Martinelli needs a couple years to mature. Don't hype too much. Sure, but if he's Martinelli 2.0, that's a reason to hype, isn't he?
But if he's calling him Marquinhos, if he's calling him, he said himself that he's Martinelli 2.0, and then he's telling us not to hype him too much. I mean, that's a bit...
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Contradictory, isn't it, what that guy's saying? But anyway,
I get what you're saying.
Marquinhos looked good today.
I get what Anthony's saying. Wayne says, some of the fans calling Tony shaky and trash are showing a lack of football knowledge. He was given a poor pass under pressure from Gabriel and didn't put foot wrong the rest of the match. Wayne, I don't know who was calling him shaky or trash or whatever, but I thought his performance was absolutely fine, Turner. I think he caught the balls when he had to. And I know it sounds silly, right? But an unconfident keeper parries. Yeah. He just goes, now get it out. Caught the ball when it came into the area. I thought his distribution was one really, really great.
Yeah, I saw
out
the long ball.
That was good. Yeah. And he was fine.
To be honest, I felt he looked a bit nervous to start with. There's a couple of things he did that weren't overly convincing. But I do agree that as time went on, he evolved into the game well, and I thought he had a decent game, to be honest. So I don't think he was particularly shaky, to be honest.
Diallo adds to it, says no Premier League games in a month. Gunnar Lee needs to calm. That boy random says, not gonna lie, Holding Defo has, what are you saying? He's got a bad gene. But gene, yeah.
A bit harsh, to be honest. I think a couple of times he did get caught in uncomfortable positions, but that's going to happen in a game, isn't it? Let's be honest with you.
Giuseppe says, yeah, I agree. Giuseppe says, shout out to James, always reading every super chat. Well, of course, man. And I'll try to get some comments in as well. Kevy reiterated my point, says Turner caught well, kicking good too. I agree. Some people aren't impressed with the Arsenal performance. Some people are.
It was a mixed bag for me. I mean, we won the game. But I would say we weren't overly convincing, and I think that's what influenced the manager to make those substitutions in the second half. He might have given them minutes anyway, but I think he was kind of sending a little message.
I think he ideally wanted to, yeah.
I think he was kind of sending a little message, making those 3 in 1 go.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that was to inject a bit of energy and a bit of
yeah
positivity on the pitch. Did it have the desired effect? Because we didn't noticeably improve when they come on, if I'm being honest. But nevertheless, I see why he did it.
Yeah.
Some of the guys in the watch-along were very critical of him for doing so. And me, not so much, because to me, 2-1, that's a precarious lead. All it takes is an attack up the long ball at the other end or a set piece, and that lead is gone.
You know where I am when it comes to injuries, right? Is I've got my feelings on them. I don't think it's completely ridiculous to want Arteta to prioritise game time for certain people rather than others and all that. And he'll have a team of medical staff who will know. They have all these graphs. They know where they are almost on the burnout scale. You know, they know how much they've played, how tired they are, blah, blah. You know, the technology they've got is unbelievable. So I've got no doubt he's giving them minutes because he's been reassured that it's absolutely fine to give them minutes. But what I would say is, I don't understand the outrage on a watch-along while the game's happening. However, if something were to happen, then you're well in your right to say, well, that's the risk you take. And a lot of people say, yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But sure, but you know, you can only react to what happens.
I know Kelechi, for example, had a problem with Xhaka playing in the game, and he felt he should have. There was an incident where I think Xhaka went down, and everyone kind of had their hands in their mouths thinking, but he wasn't injured. Now listen, Xhaka, and I could tell this from his reaction post-match. Did you see him post-match, where he was going up some of the Swiss players, high-fiving? He wanted to play that game.
Yeah.
That was a game in Switzerland where he grew up. He clearly knew some of those players. He was given the armband before the game. He was clearly up for that game. He wanted to play. I'm pretty sure he wanted to play in that game.
Yeah.
Now listen, it is a risk playing these guys. But then, you know what I mean, if you're a manager, you know what I mean, you got to utilise what's in front of you.
Yeah.
And we don't have the greatest in squad depths.
Yeah.
So I personally didn't have any problem with the likes of Xhaka playing. I didn't have a big problem with the subs either, because the manager showed me that he wants to win the game. Well, if he hadn't done that, say, or say we'd, God forbid, we hadn't have won, we'd have lost or drawn or whatever, some of those same people that were saying that today would have criticised that team selection and said the manager's not taking it seriously, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So what would you rather?
No, I
take it seriously and win 2-1, or not take it so seriously, you risk losing or drawing, and have everybody come down on the manager and the team saying, oh, you're not showing enough commitment to the cause, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, nah, man, you want to win all your games.
You know, I think the only point I would say is that Arteta does have a little bit of a history with the way last season ended. A little bit of a history of maybe overplaying and trying to squeeze every drop out. And I know we had a thin squad and they couldn't bring in the right players and things happen. I get it. But, you know, I think there's just a little bit of evidence that last year, when for example, I remember playing Watford away and I was calling for Saka to get rested in that because I felt we'd have enough to beat Watford without him. You know, then you kind of wonder if we'd given Saka that little bit of rest here and there, would he have had that little bit more? And you just see he was running on empty towards the end. But listen, I think both.
But you couldn't say that now because we're right at the start of the season.
Exactly, yeah. And I think we've done this topic today.
I think, right, and I don't want to belabour the point, but the debate in the watch along for me seemed to be what was underpinning it for me is that there were some of those guys that were predicting that we were going to win 3, 4, 5, 6s. When it didn't turn out that way, it was almost as if they felt some kind of effrontery that we weren't winning by a bigger margin. So they're saying, oh, we shouldn't have to bring on the likes of Odegaard, Jesus and Zinchenko to beat Zurich, which in a way they are correct in that assertion. But at the same time, you got to play what's in front of you, you know what I mean? And if the manager felt that he needed to do that to put some impetus and some energy in the team, then I personally don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I hear that. All right, guys, we've got a couple comments and super chats, so we're going to have Julian join us now as we go to your video. So big thank you, Laura.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
Thanks
the
for
chat.
the opportunity.
And we're going to get Julian on now, so let's go to your clips.
Hi, AFTV. Kuda from Zimbabwe. Yeah, good game, lads. I feel like we were in first gear or second gear the whole game, so it was just a relaxed match. It's just good to get back to winning ways. Yes, I just wanted to say I support Arteta 100% with the substitutes. You know, to just give all those guys a run around, because I'm sure Arteta knows very well that the games are going to be cancelled this coming weekend, in light with the passing away of the Queen. So yeah, it was just good giving all those guys a run around so that they stay match fit. Yeah, otherwise I'm sure that was his thinking behind putting them on. Otherwise, rest in peace to the Queen.
Hello AFTV, this is Clifford from Malaysia. Yeah, I just watched the game here and it's 3 a.m. Another 2-1 win. Well, at least a win is a win, but unconvincing. We are not ruthless yet again, and we concede a silly goal yet again. And it's the same story of dominating possession, playing good football, scoring one, never look like scoring ever again, conceding one, now we have to find a goal out of nowhere, and we don't look like scoring as well. So today, the magic came from Marquinhos. A great ball to the far post where Nketiah was waiting. I think the game really needed someone direct, yet kept the ball. Vieira tried, yeah, but he lost the ball a bit too much in my opinion. Martinelli should have been off. He looks tired. He can't even cut past the defender anymore. Nketiah off for Jesus, I think that was a bit unnecessary. Same for Tierney and Zinchenko. But, well, Arteta is the manager, I guess. I don't like his subs. But I guess no injuries means no problems. Yeah, that's all. I just hope to see that Arsenal can win a game convincingly and just destroy an opponent 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. And I think that will send a huge statement for top 4 or even title contenders. So yeah, looking forward to that day if it comes.
What's up, guys? Javi from the US here. First and foremost, rest in peace to Queen Elizabeth II. And regarding my thoughts on this game and competition in general, it just feels like a chore to have to watch it. And I could give a rat's ass how we do in this competition. I don't think we should take it seriously at all. And I know that some people will see it as another option or another pathway into Champions League, but honestly, if you can't finish top 4 in the league, then you don't deserve to be in the Champions League in the first place. And the reality is that this competition is just going to be a hindrance to how we actually perform in the Premier League. So just treat it as an opportunity to give some players from the youth academy, some minutes, to give the likes of Vieira and Marquinhos, who looked really good, some minutes, or to have some players coming back from injury, have them use that as some rehabilitation to get back to, full fitness. But apart from that, there's no need to take it seriously, because it's just going to affect us how we do in the league. And even if we make it all the way to the final, there's no guarantee you're going to get into the Champions League, because in a 90-minute game, anything can happen. And let's be real, nobody cares about your Europa League trophy. It's just the fact that it gives you Champions League. And I'd rather take my chances over 38 fixtures than a couple of knockout games. There's no need for it.
So, Julian, let's tackle it. Big up Harvey, by the way, and everyone who's been sending in their videos and their thoughts.
Was that Harvey that just spoke?
That was Harvey, yeah.
The American gentleman.
Yeah, lovely man. We met him out in... did you meet him? Out in the States?
I don't recognise him.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I got to meet him for the first time, always sending in his great thoughts, but he's sort of not as convinced about how seriously we take this competition. What's the priority for you, this or the Premier League?
Premier League. But I don't agree with Harvey in as much as let's just dismiss it and play our youth team and put a few of the kids in and that's it and don't care about it. It is important. I mean, in my lifetime, I've been to 5 European finals and I've only seen Arsenal win one of them. Wow. And that night for me was very, very special. And that was actually the 3rd tier of a European trophy. That was the Cup Winners' Cup, which was probably the equivalent of, what's that competition that we didn't get into last season? Not Europa. What's the
Champions League?
No, not Champions League. The one the season before, the minor one, the Conference League. Yeah. I suppose that was the equivalent. The Cup Winners' Cup was the equivalent of the Conference League. It was the 3rd tier, and that was a really special night. So to totally dismiss it, I think's wrong. To say that no one cares about it,
well, if we do get to the final, we'll see how many people care about it when there's the rush to get tickets.
Yeah, good point. Moses, let me just address this very quickly. He says, James, please pass on a message. He said you paid to pass on a message to Kelechi, and that we missed it. So very apologies for that. I will let them know. Moses, I'll look out for your comment in the comment section. No need for a super chat, of course. Please just if you do want to get that through, put it in the comment section, and I'll make sure that makes its way to Kelechi. So I'll keep a lookout for that. But yeah, thank you for letting me know, and apologies for that as well. I'll make sure Kelechi gets your message. Where I am with it is the Premier League is the most important, because I actually think we can get in the top 4, and I think we can. Well, I'm about to say more than that, but not that I think we can challenge for the title, for the long haul. But I think we can make a push for third. And listen, second's up for grabs the way Liverpool are playing. I think there's an opportunity there, and I think we should be at the forefront and trying to take the Premier League very seriously and showing everyone on a domestic level that we're to be taken seriously. However, forget also just getting in the Champions League, and forget, I think you made this point very well just then. When the European nights come around, Champions League, Europa League, of course the Champions League is more special, of course it's more prestigious and all those things. But when we've been in the Europa League the last few years, and it gets to that sort of crunch time, talking to quarters, but mainly semis, and it starts to get exciting, there's silverware on the line. And we all know that whatever we say, those days you win silverware are the ones you remember.
Yeah.
And it's about European silver. Listen, Chelsea fans have 2 Champions League trophies on us, but often they also talk about European silverware. They talk about beating us in Baku that night. Those nights still matter. So I would like Arsenal to do what they can, almost 1-0 and 2-1 their way to when it really starts to crank up. And then listen, then it's about hopefully having had a few recruitments, having had a decent recruitment in January, brought in a few players, add a little bit more to the squad, and then going, right, great, let's attack on 2 fronts and have some fun here.
Yeah, I mean, if we think the FA Cup's important, which I personally do, and our most recent triumphs and great moments have been in the FA Cup, then you've got to say the Europa League is more important than the FA Cup, because the difference is that they're both silverware, but the Europa League gives an extra bonus, which is a massive bonus, of it gives you a buy. And I will agree with the American gentleman in that you shouldn't really get into the Champions League if you don't get top 4. But the reality is, the rules of the competition are, if you win the Europa League, you get a pass into the Champions League, which is crucial. It gives you that second option. So I will say the Premier League is more important than the Europa League, but it's marginal. And personally, I would rather, if I had the choice of get 4th place or win the Europa League, with the fact that they both in effect have the same outcome of a pass into the Champions League, I'd rather take the Europa League and the memories and the glory that would be involved in a night of winning a trophy.
I think there's so few actual trophies. We kind of forget this. There's so few trophies to actually win in football.
Yeah.
This is where I think we go wrong a little bit somewhere. And I say the same thing with the Carabao Cup. It's why I wish we took the Community Shield seriously. I know that sounds crazy, but you've got the winner of the Premier League and the winner of the FA Cup playing each other. Make that mean something. But, okay, we seem to play it down in this country. Call it the Super Cup and everyone will care. But I just think it's the same with the Carabao Cup. Why do we feel this need to just sort of, it's the one no one cares about, isn't it? It's silverware. Pep and Jose Mourinho, 2 of the most decorated managers of all time, did not shrug their shoulders at the Carabao Cup. Pep won 4 in a row, and I'm pretty sure every time Mourinho won a Premier League title, that same season he won the Carabao. I think that one of the few trophies he won at he won the Europa League, but he also won the Carabao at Man United. So I'm not about Harvey. Massive respect. I see you in the comments section. He's saying the fact that the Europa League isn't an elite competition. If it didn't offer us Champions League, no one would care. I so disagree, Harvey. And I love a lot of your opinions and your thoughts, but I disagree. I think there's so few silverware, so little to actually win, that I just don't think you could take any of it lightly. However, I prioritise the Premier League because, hot take, maybe not hot take, People seem to think it's easier to win the Europa League because you don't have the Man Cities and the Liverpool. Cup competition is very unpredictable. I don't think it is necessarily easier than going via the top 4 route. Liverpool a bit shaky, but I'm sure they'll get it together. Tottenham, results-wise good, performance-wise meh. Chelsea are going through their changes. I don't think it's a given that going through the Europa League is easier than the Champions League, because maybe in terms of on paper, but cup competitions can be very, very awkward. They can be unpredictable. You can, like Olympiacos, we were better across 2 legs and they knocked us out because they got an away goal in the last minute.
Yeah. And the other thing about the Europa League, and your point of it being something that you don't quite know what's going to happen, it's unpredictable. Look at the way the Champions League works. The 3rd place team drops in.
Yeah.
Now, look at Liverpool's results, look at Chelsea's results. You say that we're not competing with potentially Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City in the Europa League. We could end up playing those teams. They could well finish 3rd in their respective group stages.
Listen, crazier things have happened. Atletico and Barcelona in the last 4 or 5 years have all dropped into it.
Yeah, so it could be just as difficult. But the thing is about the Premier League, it's our bread and butter. And your point that we could get better than top 4, we could get better than top 4, and it's on 2 counts. First of all, we are playing really well. We're still top of the Premier League. Okay, we lost on Sunday, but we've got our reasons for that. These things happen. There was many different factors contributed to that. The most important thing about Sunday was the performance. So up to now, other than one poor result, we've been playing fantastic football. But the flip side to that is the other teams around us, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, even Tottenham, they've drawn a couple of games. Their performances haven't been good, and they've dropped points. So you could go back to a situation like we had with Leicester in 2016, where all the top teams just didn't perform, and it may well open up for us. I'm not saying we're nailed on to win the Premiership, of course we're not, but the way the season has started, every single team has looked like they've got shaky moments, and Liverpool especially do not look like the Liverpool we've come to expect over the last sort of 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah. Patrick asked James, do you think a team that drops out the Champions League should enter another competition?
Those are the rules.
Well, it's a tricky one. No, ideally no, because it makes it harder for us.
It spices it up, doesn't it?
That's the one thing I'd say. It does spice it up, and people won't really want to say this, but it does make it more interesting. Those latter rounds of the Europa League, people are paying more attention. There's more eyes on it, and actually, if you're trying to create 2, look at the Conference League last season. What was the final? Was it? I think it was Roma versus. Who was it? I remember it being a better game. Please let me know in the comments who it was. I remember it being a more interesting tie than the... Or was it the semi-finals? I think the semi-finals were...
Leicester got to semis, didn't they?
Right, that's what was my point. The Conference League semis, I remember being more exciting than the Europa League semis. So it does just open it up. Yeah, it was final Roma, that's it, because Reece Nelson played. But I think if you look at the semi-final, I think Marseille were in there, as were Leicester. And then I think if you go to the Europa League, it wasn't quite as exciting, though. I think we were all, watching West Ham with a degree of interest. So, I think it does spice it up. I think it leaves you with 3 good European finals, ultimately, at the end of it, and semi-finals. So, ultimately, I'm glad they do it this way. And listen, if the prize is Champions League football, then at least it's well and truly earned. That's the one thing I'd say. All right, guys, we're going to pretty much round it off there. Moses, I'm having a little look for any comments, but I can't see one. We addressed your super chat about us missing a super chat earlier. So, yeah. Got about a minute to get that comment in, otherwise we'll have a little look and try let Kelechi know. I'm sure it's in the back end somewhere. And Harvey's in the comments going back and forth, and it's an interesting discussion about what should be the priority, how you feel about the Europa League. But look, I like it. I don't love it. I want to be in the Champions League. I love the Champions League. What a competition. But I like the Europa League, and listen, it's better than nothing. And if we win it, and if we get into those latter stages, it's certainly exciting. Julian, any final thoughts?
Yeah, if we win it, we have a trophy. It's another trophy in our cabinet, and trophies, as any Tottenham fan will tell you, are hard to come by.
He had to, didn't he? He absolutely had to. guys, we're going to leave it there. Arsenal get the win in their first Europa League game. It was a trip to Zurich, and they got the job done. I feel Arsenal never really got out of second gear. Maybe I'm being too kind. It was a little bit more of a workout than perhaps... Well, I predicted 2-0, so actually it was about as much of a workout as I expected it to be, considering they scored a penalty, and we limited them really to chances. But, yeah, Arsenal move on. They started in the right fashion. 3 more home games. You feel if we win those... will be okay. Now, we brought to you earlier the news about the Queen's passing. Of course, very sad. And yeah, we've obviously been seeing that all over the news. Arsenal did do a minute's silence at half-time. So, of course, it's not only rocked the world, but the sporting world, and what happens with games and stuff going on. We will be of course, reacting to that as we find out in the coming hours, days, whatever it may be. So, yeah. Rest in peace to the Queen, and we'll leave it there. Julia, thank you for joining me. Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section a little after this stream, and we go from there. Arsenal collect 3 points.